For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a review video on a new product from Vango. So with me here today I've got the Vango Cove TC Air Low. So the Cove is a name we've seen in kind of Vango's Driveaway awning collection for a number of years now, and actually, to be honest, if you ask me, it's probably their best selling model in the range. It's small, it's compact, it's big without being too big, and it faces the same sort of direction as the van. So there's lots of good talking points there. So kind of a new evolution, really. What they've introduced is kind of a polycotton version, so you get all the benefits of that, but with a more breathable material. But we'll break it back down to the simpler parts of kind of the Cove and go for every little feature that we kind of know and love about it, just so if you are starting from fresh, gives you sort of the full sort of idea of it as well. So the Cove is a driver awning, like I said as before. The difference being is rather than sort of with your van facing out that way, your main orientation is not directly off, ideally onto your neighbour's pitch, so it sort of goes alongside the van quite nicely, faces the same way as the vehicle, keeps it all nice and easy from that point of view. Being a polycotton fabric, what you do have is a benefit of breathability. So what you find is on a warm day, you'll be a lot cooler in there, and then on a cold day, basically the weave contracts and keeps the warmth in. So what you find is the material can expand and contract, allow air to pass through it. So you also find you get a lot less condensation, and it has a nice longer lasting period. But also in terms of the actual material itself, what you find it's much quieter in the wind because it hasn't got that sort of synthetic kind of flappy noise. So generally it's kind of an all-round better fabric. I use the term kind of a little bit more high maintenance in the way that it's more imperative that you get packed and stored away dry, just because the cotton element of it as well. That's where it's more sort of mold and mildew. So it doesn't matter if you sort of get it down wet. It's just when you don't leave it in the bag more than 24, 40 hours wet, just because it's a perfect sort of breeding ground for mold and mildew. So really get back out, pitch it. Doesn't matter if you sort of spread it out and trying to air it out that way, but it's just a conscious thing really. But for me, I'm a big fan and a big advocate of polycotton, just because it looks nicer, it feels nicer, and you do get the benefits, especially if you go across to, say, Europe, where you have hotter climates. That's where it's definitely worth looking at kind of a polycotton for the lifespan, but also the breathability side of things as well. Very quick and easy to pitch. You can see from our own Attwoolls pitching packing video, it took me the best part of sort of 8-9 minutes to pitch, so it's great for sort of small sort of weekends away, or even longer spells, just because of the simplicity of it. Each beam has got its own individual inflation point, so it's done nice and easily, and you get a manual stirrup pump supplied with the actual awning itself. It's got like a bayonet lock on it, so it's very easy to use. One of the big kind of updates that Vango really trying to do, part of the whole kind of eco sort of ethos behind it all, is reduce the amount of kind of the way they make their fabrics, in terms of make them more efficient. So what they do is the material goes through what they call like a solution dye material. So this essentially means when you dye the thread before it's woven into fabric. So what you find is you get better colour retention, hence what's called colour lock 2. So you get the colour should look on the awning should look sharper for longer, and actually it saves an awful lot of water in kind of dyeing process of the material. So it's got a really nice eco-friendly kind of side of it as well. But like I said, it's the colour retention for me which I think looks better. So I use the sort of analogy, the difference between, say, a carrot and a radish. You cut a radish in half, you have the colour on the outside and the pure white on the inside. That's kind of maybe the old way of doing it. Whereas the carrot, you cut it through, it's obviously orange all the way through, and that's what you get. So when the UV starts stripping out that outer layer from the sunlight, it keeps the fabric, to its pure colour itself. Other things to sort of talk about really is obviously you've got kind of your main sort of sealed area with a sewn in ground sheet, and we'll bring the camera around a little bit later, just look down the front of the awning to give you a bit better feel for it. And obviously you've got a nice open tunnel, so you've got a really nice flexibility with a bit of shelter away from kind of everything else. You can almost have a couple of chairs out here in the night time, even if it's raining, but more importantly it protects that front door into the main body of it and keeps it all nice and tidy. What they've kind of done is really make it kind of, from a point of view, from a sort of cost element, really quite nice and neat. You've still got your kind of cool main features in terms of the decent sized beams, high visibility guy ropes, and they've still got the really nice easy peg system. So what it is, it's colour coordinated webbing straps, which would be the kind of first point to peg, which would kind of leave it as it is. Comes in only one attachment height, so it is only available in a low, which is basically from sort of height points from 180 to 210, and you can still have multiple methods of attaching it. So you can still use like a fixing kit into some sort of rail or a winder awning. You can use simply throw over straps over the top of the van and peg it down the other side, and you can also even use, they've got a sleeve for pole and clamp kit. So you have your gutter, you can literally pop that in there, clamp it in the gutter, and you're good to go. And there's also Velcro tabs, so you've got roof bars. So 4 main methods to attach it, so it makes it really nice and easy. And we've done a separate kind of video on breaking down each method and showing you the differences and kind of what sometimes is easier to work with and also isn't. So that's also a nice little video to look at. We've got a new kind of sculpting sort of design, I think, which looks quite sharp. And I think the orange touches with the guide points just gives it a little bit more pop. So I think actually from a looking sort of presentation point of view, it does look really nice and sharp. Also, we've got this new additional vent located beneath the window as well, with a zip up part underneath it, so you can get obviously the airflow when you want to, and obviously that seal, but a really nice big window as well. So again, plenty of light coming into the awning itself. In fact, let's kind of bring the camera around, look straight down it, and then talk through a load more features the Cove TC has to offer. So now we're kind of inside the Cove, you can kind of get a bit more appreciation for sort of the width you got in here. I'm about 6'2", 6'3", and again, headroom height certainly in the middle is perfectly fine. And because of this kind of art nature, it's not too bad in the corners. Certainly we've got things like tables and chairs, for example. More than happy to sit quite happily in there. Really nice oversized bag comes supplied with it as standard, and yet again you get quite a bit for your sort of money. You've got buckle straps as well to kind of compress it and make it easy, and that's where sort of pack size is kind of very crucial, especially when you've got sort of a small little camper and you know every space does make a difference. Admittedly, it's not too bad because more often not with a driveway awning you can leave it kind of in your main central area for when you're driving, because it's the first thing you got to pitch and then all your stuff goes in it. So pack size isn't too bad from that sort of things, but it's worth considering. We're stepping kind of to the main body area here. We've got lovely 2 big PVC windows to get a bit of light in. Admittedly, with being inside and the material itself, it feels a little bit darker in here, but I think the benefit of kind of the breathable fabric is going to make a big difference. We've got a slight lip into the point, but what the joy means is you've got a proper solid seal all around. So with the zip itself, it goes along the bottom as well as along the top. So if you want that sort of bug barrier against sort of the sort of flies, midges, that sort of stuff, that works really nicely. And actually the mesh part itself is built into the door. So you have got a window in place here. There you go, find the zips. So you obviously can have the airflow in. So you've got your bug-free barrier into the main door itself, and you can still kind of also have it kind of halfway. So if you don't want it to, you want a bit of privacy, but still want to have a bit of airflow, that works quite nicely there. Of course, zip it up and you're good to go. So it's quite a nice way of kind of getting that flexibility. And so because you've got a canopy at the front, even with that mesh door in place, you've still got enough coverage that you're not going to get the water coming in. So again, that's a really nice option. And I think actually it's quite clean and fresh. That's what I quite like about it. I think I don't know, it's like sort of when you have a minimalistic look, it sort of just looks, I won't say looks, I don't know, just looks like effortless, and I don't know how you describe it really. I suppose it's just minimal. Looks clean, doesn't look too messy, very easy. So we've got really nice sort of oversized beams in here, so we've got supersized beams, so again, really good stability and structure. You have the ability of, I'll move to that side here a second. Inner bedrooms you can put in here, so you can buy essentially a 2-berth bedroom if you want to sleep people, or if you wanted to, you can actually buy a 4-berth, but really 2 berths could be the way you can do it, and you probably orientate it so it takes up half the amount of space in here, so you've still got a bit of entrance in and out of the model itself. As standard with Vango, you have what they call their TBS system, so it stands for tension band system. It's an internal bracing system you probably wouldn't really have unless you leave the awning probably alone, so you leave it Driveaway. It just gives a bit more stability. Some Vango put in all their kind of sort of any kind of tunnel tent. What it creates is an internal stability system. So what you find is it's little webbing straps in here, creates a triangle formation. So if you have wind coming from a particular side, it just changes the bracing, so it creates that with the guy ropes on the out point. Again, gives it more stability and does make a difference. Admittedly, you're not really going to use it when it's inside, and actually, to be fair, the position of it, interfering too much with anything, but still, it's something to talk about. We've also got a mesh panel located at the top as well, and we've got, when we get into the tunnel section, there is a flat ground sheet. So if you want your trip-free access in, obviously it's not at the front, you'd probably come in the tunnel section, come into this main body here, and kind of go from there. But in fact, bring the camera in, just give you a bit more of a feel for the inside of it. So, I think first thing to point out is probably the canopy depth. You can see from the side here, we've got this really nice mesh swooping panel, and then obviously the zip-up curtain from the inside there as well. And actually you've got like a two-tone kind of guy rope system, so if we come around the back, you can see here how we've got like a floating guy, so again it just adds a little touch to it, and when it sits on the back here it's really quite nice. Big mesh vent at the very top as well, so even if it's raining you've still got a bit of coverage to go. But yeah, for me it's just how slick it looks. It just looks really quite nice as we come in the awning. And so we've just got like a table and chairs in here as such. We can see that mesh vent located at the bottom there, and you just toggle up or zip up on the sides. And again, with the window itself, you've got a toggle up window. So it's 2 points. You can have sort of halfway or fully up to the top. We've also in the door section which goes into the van itself, so that's where the van would be. You've also got a mesh part here as well. So again, for ventilation, it works really quite nicely. And then you've got on the outside of the tunnel section. So that's one thing I would say kind of about the Cove in general, is that one of the maybe slight negative points in a way is because it's just nature of it. Because it's quite a small main body, you're going for quite a thin section at the top to quite a wide section. So it does feel like a bit of a funnel. So you don't have that same level of storage space you'd have with the larger model. But still, I think in terms of, again, it's probably for the awning, you don't want a massive awning. This way I think it works really nicely. And again, you've got a door located on both the tunnel sections. So when you kind of pull that out, you can either enter through the front or the back of the awning. So again, doesn't really matter. It allows you to enter the vehicle where I'm going through the main body of the awning every time. So again, that's a really quite nice thing. And one thing else, Steve, you've probably got more of a California van, in the sense that the sliding door is actually on the driver's side rather than the passenger side. It does mean the orientation of the vehicle is going to be the wrong way around, because if the van's there, passenger side facing that way. So it does still mean in theory you could have it facing the back of the vehicle if you had it on the driver's side, like that. But you still have access through that tunnel section through the back and front. But I think all in all, really quite nice awning, quite sharp, quite easy to do. Great for pitching, flat entrance. I think for me it just takes that Cove model up to the next level. It's nice having something that in a more breathable polycotton fabric. And if you want something a bit larger than this, that's when you can always check out the Galley TC. So that's another option. So if you like the same kind of style, want something a bit bigger, you can jump up to that one as well. And I think again, for the price point difference between say the Cove polyester and the Cove TC, for me, I think for spending a little bit more, that breathability and also the longevity, I think for me is kind of worth it. So yeah, lots of little talking points. Oh, little things to mention actually. We've got hanging points for a lantern in the front section here as well. So you can have a lantern out here if you're sort of sitting out here quite nice and neatly. You've also got, when you have sort of your main tucker, you want cable entry into this point, you can utilise the side door because of the way it's lipped. It works quite nicely. Admittedly, the side door here, it sort of lips down, lips up. So it just toggles in the corners and in the centre point. So it's not a physical zip, but it still gives you that weather-tight section. And really, it's going to be attached to the van most of the time, and that's going to be kind of your sheltered area. So it's going to be where you kind of come and go. So you've got that nice smooth transition between the places. You haven't got a trip hazard. But I think the fabric feels nice. As soon as I think once you go to polycotton and you know the benefits of it, it's not very often you sort of stray away from it. But for more information, of course, feel free to check the link below this video. Take you through to our website where we've got more information on things like the pack sizes, specifications, individual features, and of course the pitching video we've done as well. But of course, as always, we always love to hear from you, so feel free to let us know your thoughts in the comments box below. But really, that's kind of a little video on the brand new Vango Cove TC Airlow. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again next time in our Attwoolls reviews.